the cold that silences the world. The air doesn't just feel cold here. It bites. You step outside and within seconds your breath turns into thick white clouds that hang in the air like smoke. The streets are quiet, not because people are gone, but because the cold has slowed everything down. Cars hum softly. Snow crunches under boots. Even sound seems frozen. This is not a storm. This is not a bad day. This is normal life in Russia. In many places on Earth, this kind of cold would shut cities down. Schools would close, roads would empty, people would stay inside and wait for it to pass. But here, it doesn't pass. It stays for months. Children still go to school, shops still open. Work still begins on time, and that raises a powerful question. How do millions of people live full, ordinary lives in a place where the cold feels powerful enough to stop the world itself? By the end of this journey, you won't just understand the cold, you'll understand the people who live inside it. Why is Russia so cold? Russia is cold for one simple reason: where it sits on the planet and how massive it is. Much of the country stretches far north, closer to the Arctic Circle than most people realize. But geography matters even more. Russia's interior is huge and landlocked, far away from warm oceans that help regulate temperature in places like Western Europe or coastal Asia. Oceans act like natural heaters. They store warmth and release it slowly. Large land masses don't. In winter, the land loses heat fast, and once that heat is gone, there's nothing nearby to replace it. Cold air settles in and stays trapped for months. This creates what scientists call a continental climate, where winters become brutally cold and summers can still be surprisingly warm. Then there's Siberia, a vast region with endless open land, little sunlight in winter, and some of the coldest recorded temperatures in any inhabited place on Earth. In parts of northeastern Russia, winter temperatures of 40 degrees C to 60 degrees are not rare. They're expected. But the most important thing to understand is this: the cold isn't an accident here. It's a permanent feature of life, and people have built their entire way of living around it. 1. Arriving in winter. First impressions as a traveler. The moment you arrive, the cold introduces itself immediately. It's not dramatic. It doesn't roar or howl. It simply exists, heavy, dry, and absolute. As you step outside the airport or train station, your face tightens instinctively. Your lungs notice it first. Each breath feels sharper, cleaner, almost metallic. In winter, cities across Russia move at a different rhythm. People walk calmly, heads slightly lowered, faces half covered. No one rushes. Rushing wastes energy here. Cars idle quietly, sometimes left running. Buses arrive on schedule. Life continues with a strange sense of order. What surprises most travelers isn't the cold itself. It's how normal everything feels despite it. Children wait for buses. Elderly women carry groceries. Cafes glow warmly behind frosted windows. In places like Yakutsk, one of the coldest cities on Earth, the shock fades quickly and is replaced by curiosity. You realize this isn't a survival zone. It's a functioning society that has adapted so well. The cold feels less like an enemy and more like a strict but familiar presence. And then you notice something important. Everyone here is dressed for this reality. 2. How people dress to survive, not for fashion. In extreme cold, clothing is not about style, it's about engineering. People dress in layers, each one serving a specific purpose. The first layer traps body heat. The second insulates. The outer layer blocks wind completely. Nothing is accidental. Even a small gap can mean frostbite in minutes. Heavy coats reach below the knees. Fur-lined hats cover ears fully. Scarves rise up to the eyes. Gloves are thick and often doubled. Footwear is especially serious. Insulated boots with felt or fur interiors designed to keep heat from escaping into frozen ground. What stands out is how practical everything looks. Nobody is trying to impress anyone. Bright colors help with visibility in snowstorms. Loose fits allow warm air to circulate. Comfort beats appearance every time. And here's the quiet truth. Locals don't think of this as bundling up. To them, this is just getting dressed. Once you understand the clothing, you begin to understand the mindset. Prepare properly, and the cold loses its power. 3. Inside a Russian winter home. Warmth is life. Step inside a winter home in Russia, and the cold disappears almost instantly. The contrast is shocking. Outside, the air can freeze exposed skin in minutes. Inside, people walk around in t-shirts, socks, sometimes even barefoot. Warmth here is not a luxury, it is survival. Most homes rely on powerful central heating systems that run non-stop throughout winter. Radiators stay hot day and night. Pipes are carefully insulated because if they freeze, they can burst and cause serious damage. In many regions, turning off the heat simply isn't an option. It could make a home unlivable within hours. Windows are thick, often double or triple glazed, sealed tightly to keep heat in and cold out. Doors close firmly, curtains help trap warmth. Every detail of the home is designed around one goal: never let the cold inside. Daily life adjusts to this reality. People plan outings carefully. Errands are grouped together to limit time outdoors. When families gather, the home becomes more than shelter. It becomes a place of comfort, conversation, and recovery from the harsh world outside. In winter Russia, your house is not just where you live, it's your strongest defense. 4. Food in the freezer. Climate. Eating to survive the cold. In extreme cold, food isn't just about taste, it's about fuel. Traditional winter diets are built to provide warmth and energy. Meals are heavy, filling and rich in calories. Soups, stews, potatoes, bread, meat, and fish dominate the table. Fat is not feared here, it's necessary. Your body burns more energy just staying warm, and food helps replace what the cold takes away. In some regions, nature itself becomes a freezer. Fish can be stored outdoors, frozen solid by the air. Meat keeps naturally in sub-zero temperatures. Nothing spoils quickly when the world is permanently cold. Hot drinks are constant companions. Tea is consumed throughout the day, not casually but deliberately, to warm the body from the inside out. Eating schedules follow the rhythm of winter, with warm meals timed around long days outdoors. What stands out isn't how extreme the food is, it's how practical it is. Every meal has a purpose, to keep you strong enough to face the cold again tomorrow. 5. Transportation in extreme cold. Moving without fail. In winter, transportation in Russia follows one rule: failure is not an option. Cars are treated differently here. In extreme cold, engines can freeze solid if turned off for too long. That's why many vehicles are plugged into electric outlets overnight to keep the engine warm. In colder regions, drivers sometimes leave cars running for hours. Fuel is cheaper than a frozen engine. Roads don't disappear under snow. They are cleared constantly, packed down, and sometimes even built on ice. Frozen rivers become temporary highways. Ice roads connect towns that would otherwise be unreachable in winter. Public transport is surprisingly reliable. Buses still run, trains still arrive. Delays are expected, but stoppage is rare. Vehicles are built and maintained for this climate, with reinforced parts, insulated cabins, and emergency protocols. What's most striking isn't the technology, it's the attitude. People plan ahead. They dress properly. They leave early. Nobody assumes the cold will make excuses for them. Here, movement continues not because it's easy, but because life depends on it. 6. The human body versus 40 degrees. Realities and AMP risks. At 40 degrees, the human body is on a timer. Exposed skin can freeze in minutes. Moisture, sweat, breath, even tears can turn to ice almost instantly. Breathing feels sharper, and long exposure can strain the lungs. Frostbite is the biggest danger, especially on fingers, toes, ears, and the nose. But locals don't panic. They respect the cold. They cover every inch of skin. They limit time outdoors. They move with purpose. Children are taught early how to dress properly and recognize warning signs. The cold isn't treated as a challenge to conquer, but a force to cooperate with. What surprises many visitors is this: people don't look miserable. Because when you understand the rules of extreme cold, fear fades. The danger is real, but it's predictable, and predictability is how humans survive places like this. 7. The Russian winter mindset. Mental strength. AMP. Community. Living through months of extreme cold shapes the mind as much as it shapes daily life. In winter, people in Russia develop a calm, practical mindset that outsiders often mistake for toughness or coldness. In reality, it's quiet resilience. There's no constant complaining about the weather. The cold is expected, planned for, and accepted. You hear jokes about it. Dark humor, casual comments like, "It's warmer today," at temperatures that would shock most visitors. This mental framing matters. It removes fear. Community plays a huge role. People look out for each other. If someone slips on ice, hands reach out. If a car won't start, help appears without questions. Winter teaches cooperation because isolation is dangerous. Children grow up learning patience and responsibility early. They understand preparation. They understand preparation. Elders pass down practical knowledge, how to dress, how to move, how to stay safe. Strength here isn't loud or dramatic, it's steady. The cold becomes a shared experience, something that binds people together. And over time, it creates a mindset built on endurance, discipline, and trust. So, why do people stay? To an outsider, leaving might seem like the obvious choice. But for many, staying in Russia isn't about endurance. It's about belonging. Families have lived on this land for generations. Memories, traditions, and identities are rooted deeply in these places. The cold becomes part of who people are, not something separate from life. There's also pride. Surviving and thriving in such an extreme environment carries a quiet confidence. People know they can handle hardship. That knowledge shapes how they see themselves and the world. Economic realities matter too. Jobs, resources, and infrastructure are built around this climate. Life here works because people have made it work. Most of all, this is home. Most of all, this is home. And home isn't chosen because it's easy. It's chosen because it holds meaning. For many Russians, the cold isn't a reason to leave, it's a reason to stay. After spending time in the coldest country on Earth, one truth becomes clear. Extreme environments don't just test people, they teach them. Life in Russia shows that comfort is relative and resilience is learned, not inherited. Here, survival isn't about bravery or strength alone. It's about preparation. It's about preparation, about community, about respecting forces bigger than yourself instead of fighting them. People don't wait for conditions to improve. They adapt to reality as it is. The cold strips life down to what truly matters: warmth, connection, purpose. And in doing so, it reveals something powerful. Humans are far more capable than we believe when we stop resisting our circumstances and start working with them. In the end, the cold doesn't silence life here. It sharpens it. This is life at the edge of cold, and it continues every single day. Would you survive here, or even choose to stay? If this journey surprised you, stay with the channel. More places, more lives, more untold realities. If this journey changed how you see cold, resilience, or everyday life, take a moment to like the video. It helps more videos like this reach others. Subscribe for deeper, human-centered travel documentaries, and tell us in the comments, could you live here?